All right. Well, hi, everyone. We're just going to give a quick minute for everyone to join. As a reminder, if you do have a headset to hear Tia and I today, it's normally the best way you can hear us. If you can just give us a shout out, maybe where you're calling in from for our AWE Module 2 in the chat box, and or click the wave icon so we know that everyone can hear and see us okay, and we'll get underway. Awesome. Thanks, Sandra. Looks like everyone is starting to be able to see us, which is cool. Good morning and good afternoon, whether you're in Australia or with Tia's case, Alaska. We know it's a challenging time for our industry, but there is indeed some awesome light at the end of the tunnel as we look for a return towards international travel. For those of you calling in from New South Wales, congratulations on your Freedom Day. I know many of us still in lockdown are a little bit jealous of that, but it is putting pressures on other governments to have reopening plans in place. I know I'm super excited to see those Qantas and Air New Zealand planes flying over us here in Auckland, off to the US and then on to Alaska. So Tia is going to take you to Anchorage Wild Expert Program Module 2. For those of you that have completed Module 1, this is the second of 4 modules today. And you'll need to complete all 4 to become an Anchorage Wild Expert. I'm Corey Marshall. I'm the account director for Visit Anchorage across this part of the world and have a massive passion for all things Anchorage and Alaska. If you have any questions as we go along, go ahead and type those right in the box. Tia will try to answer them as she goes, and or we'll make sure she does at the end. But as in all of our webinar programs, we do like to get some feedback from you at the start of the webinar. And then, of course, most importantly, all of the certification questions will be answered at the end of the webinar today. So, sorry, you'll need to answer those at the end of the webinar after Tia's delivered her fantastic presentation. So stay on right to the end, answer the certification questions, and we'll make sure you get yourself towards certification. So question 1, and go ahead and answer these right on the screen, is have you been to Alaska before? Yes or no. Question 2, have you booked clients to Alaska previously, and what did they book? Was it cruise and land only, or you haven't booked Alaska clients? And that's okay. That's what today's all about, so you can get more comfortable booking Anchorage in Alaska. And question number 3, did you include Anchorage on your clients' itineraries, and how much? So was it 25% of the time, 50% of the time, all the time, or never? And then the last question, are you planning on completing all 4 modules of the Anchorage Wild Expert Program with us? And that's yes or no. While you're answering these questions, I'll just comment that a question we are getting asked is, oh, Corey and Laura, we can't attend such and such module. Can we send you the answers to the trivia and watch it afterwards? And that is totally okay. So if you can't attend today or module 3 or 4, just let us know. We'll send you the recording out as we always do in the day that follows up. And you can then send us the answers to the questions back, and we'll make sure we get you certified. And I see someone missed module 1. Yes, we can send you that, Carmel, after today, and make sure that you answer those questions towards your certification. So we want to get as many of our trade partners across Australia and New Zealand certified through this program, because there's lots of great benefits that Tia will talk about as well. So amazing. Well, without further ado, I'm Corey. I'm your local expert, but there is no one better to talk about Alaska and Anchorage than Tia Fraley. I'm going to turn you over to Tia now, who is a familiar face to this part of the world. She's been down here on numerous occasions, but is here with us virtually today from Anchorage in Alaska. Tia, why don't you take it away?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Corey. Thank you to the team at Connect Kiwi. We love working with them. So yes, they are your contacts right there to get all the answers you need about Alaska and South Central Alaska and Anchorage. But I am sitting in my office right now in the beautiful downtown area of Anchorage. So super excited you guys have joined us. I just want to give a shout out to making it this far, making it through the last almost 2 years now, and that you're still in this beautiful industry. And we know as you guys all come out of this and your clients start to travel again, that Alaska is going to be a popular place. And congratulations to those that are on their final day of lockdown. So I saw that Melbourne said that. I was like, oh, it's time to get out, right? So anyways, we're going to quickly show a quick video about what I'm going to talk about today. So take it away. So that is just a snippet of what we're going to talk about today. And in module 2, Anchorage in any season, I'm going to show you how we are open year round here. So I know a lot of people think that Alaska is only open in the summertime, May through September, because that's our cruise ship season, which we get. And most everyone thinks when they come to Alaska, the only way they can see Alaska is by cruise ship, which if they're cruisers and that's what they want to do, it's going to be fantastic and great. But if they want to really dive into the land and the people of Alaska, I always say make sure to include a land package, whether it is a cruise and land package with our fabulous cruise companies that sail here, or if they want to do their own independent land package. And then maybe they want to come in our other seasons. So we do have I like to say a short fall and spring season, and then we have a massive winter season and a massive summer season, and we're going to explore that here. So I did see that some of you have never been to Alaska. We need to get you up here. I completely believe once you get here and experience it, it's just so much easier for you to sell. And I know there is such a mystery about Alaska because it is a big state. So again, if you can experience it and get the logistics and how big we are, you'll just sell it time and time again. So let's find out a way to get you to Alaska, even if you're not our winner from joining us. So again, our Anchorage Wild expert, once you do all 4 modules with us, you'll get this beautiful logo and you can use it however you want. So let's get started. So just a reminder of what Visit Anchorage does. We're the destination marketing organization for South Central and Anchorage, Alaska. Not only are we here to market our area, and my department, the travel trade department, is here to help you. So I am your local expert, and Laura and Karen and Corey are there right next to you to answer those questions in the same time zone to help you. But let us help you. Let us answer those questions for you. If you have that client that you just don't know how to answer those questions for, we are willing to help. And we have a lot of resources, especially on our webpage that we just redesigned in 2020 that has a travel trade portal just for you at anchorage.net. Maybe Corey, you can type that in, anchorage.net. That is a great resource on our travel trade. And when your clients are in Anchorage, know that we run the Visitor Information Center. So if you have clients on the ground that have any questions, problems, need medication or anything, please see one of our staff or volunteers at our Visitor Information Center. They can help them. They're very eager to help people, whether it's our volunteers are retired school teachers or bush pilots or dog mushers or just someone that wants to help people have the best experience while they're here. So again, this is our iconic log cabin in downtown. Not only is it there to help your clients when they're here, but this is the main area where day trips from Anchorage start and end, and where all the shuttle services pick up for different attractions here too. So again, it's right in downtown Anchorage. Once you see it, you can't miss it, and it's very photogenic. Take a picture in front of it. But again, my name is Tia Fraley. I am a lifelong Alaskan, so I get very passionate about talking about my home city and my home state. So hopefully you'll see that from me today, and that I just absolutely love to get out there and do all the things I'm going to talk to you about. Like, I am very fortunate to live in this state that gives so much outdoor experiences, and that I get to go out there and do them. So whether I'm out on a glacier or chasing the northern lights or out on our many trails here, whether I'm fat tire biking, hiking, snowshoeing, cross country skiing, or fishing for the next big king. I'm an avid fisher here too. But then, of course, I love to eat, and that is me eating a reindeer sausage. And then I love a good pint of beer at the end of the day. So we have 13 breweries here, and they're just fantastic way to end a day, I think. So let's get you up there and try some of these, and I'll have a pint with you. Anyways, it's just always easiest. I always have this map on you'll see it on every module, because it just explains when I keep saying South Central Alaska and Anchorage, what region I'm talking about, which is the green area on this map. But it's easiest to talk about Alaska when you think about it as 5 different regions, which is almost like 5 different states in one. But again, I am really focused on that green area. And actually today I'm really going to focus on Anchorage, using Anchorage as kind of that base camp year round here, and how much there is to see and do in each season. Next module in November, we'll focus on multi-day itinerary. So we're going to build from this. So this is the first couple nights you're going to send your clients to Anchorage and what they can experience. And then again, module 3, we just build on that. What you can see on this map, and I know there's a lot going on, but that's the purpose of it, right? Because I want to show you this is all the activities you can see and do and take part of from Anchorage. So year round. There's lots going on here. We're a big city for the reason. So being the largest city here in Alaska, we have about 40% of the population, but it offers all the amenities and all the adventures that your clients are looking for. So we have that tagline as urban and wild because of the restaurants and the hotels and all those big city amenities that they're looking for are right here in downtown or midtown Anchorage. And then you can just see we're surrounded by wilderness. So you're out in the wild, you're out exploring the great outdoors and breathing in our fresh air and taking in the midnight sun or the northern lights or the alpenglow any time of the year. And what we're going to focus on in each season is what the top reasons to come to Alaska and what people want to make sure is included in their itinerary, as everyone wants to kind of learn a little bit about our history and meet our Alaska Native and learn about our Alaska Native culture because they are fascinating. We have actually 11 different Alaska Native tribes here. And out of those 11 tribes, they speak 22 different dialects. So pretty fascinating people. Also, you want to see wildlife. Just like when I go to Australia, I'm like, I want to see a kangaroo. When you come to Alaska, you normally want to see a moose or a bear, right? So we do have amazing places that you can go with guaranteed wildlife, but then how it is possible to see them just in the wild here. I always say we share the land with the animals. And so we have about 1,500 moose that live in and around the Anchorage area. And right now we're all putting pumpkins out on our porches because of the holidays. We have Halloween and Thanksgiving. Guess what moose love? You got it. Pumpkins. So it's not uncommon for us to open our front door and have a moose eating our pumpkin, and we just let them. I mean, it's nutritious for them. And then we know that a glacier, some type of glacier experience needs to be included in their itinerary. And I'm going to show you so many different ways they can experience a glacier. So many different ways. We have 100,000 glaciers here in Alaska, and we have 60 that you can visit within a day trip from Anchorage. So we'll talk about those. And then the reason to be here, it's not to be indoors. We don't spend time indoors in the summer or winter here. We are all about being outdoors, being in the great outdoors because of the surrounding, in the wilderness that we're in. So, and some type of active adventure has to be included in their itinerary. And that activity is going to be different for each of your client, right? It could be one client that wants to come and have a lovely dinner at one of our amazing restaurants and then go walk on one of our trails, our paved trails right from downtown Anchorage and, just glisten under the northern lights or under the northern lights or under the midnight sun. Or there's someone that wants to go climb to one of our 249 mountain peaks and get to the top at 3,000 feet and enjoy the vistas and the views and the wilderness and the animals that they're going to run into. So again, it's different for everyone, and we'll show you how you can include that for them. Okay, let's start. Let's just dive into it. We're going to go season by season, and this is the season we're in right now, which is the fall season. One of my favorite times here, and like I mentioned, it's small. Our fall and our spring are just pretty much 2 months. We are really known for our winter and our summer. But fall is gorgeous here. That's why I wore my yellow scarf today, because when our trees change, they become this vibrant yellow, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And then you can see our average temperatures. We're starting to get more of that crisp and that crisp air, not as warm as we do in the summertime, but it's just gorgeous, but it's not too cold, and we still have plenty of sunlight to play under. So let's explore this season. This is what our city now looks like in the fall time. So that's what I meant by the beautiful yellows that we get, and it goes up onto our mountains, and it is just it's breathtaking. It really, really is. But if you've ever met me, hopefully I've met you before, if you've ever heard me talk before, I'm obsessed with our Fat Bear Week. And this only happens in the fall because they watch the bears from Katmai National Park and how much fish they eat over the summertime. So there's a big competition of how much they can eat between July and mid-September, because they eat as much salmon as they can and then they go hibernate. And it is remarkable how much they can eat. So they do a whole bracket. And then you can go on to explore.org and each day during this week, you get to vote between the different bears. The whole bracket, there's different voting. You get a sticker that says you voted, and you can pick your favorite bear in Fat Bear Week. So this year, it got down to our old buddy Otis, who has won this before. He is over 25 years old, one of the oldest bears that we have in Katmai, and he has about 2 teeth. Yeah, so he's a pretty old bear. And then we have the young Walker that he went against, which Walker you can see is this beautiful deep brown color. And he got to be really big by September. We were a little nervous. If you look at Otis on that picture that they took of him, it is on July 26th. He was really late to the game this year. In fact, a lot of the park rangers weren't sure if he made it through the winter because he's 25. Most bears live till about 30. But he came late. So he was really skinny when he showed up, but he did some work and he put on some weight. So now you can see him in September 16th down below. That is what he looked like. And then that's what Walker looked like. Walker's a big boy too. So we all voted. Anyone can vote. And the winner this year was our old man, Otis. I think we probably voted a little bit with our heart, although it was quite impressive how much weight he gained. But knowing it could be maybe his last year, I think that he got a few more votes and that he has barely any teeth in his mouth. So I think Walker has a few more years in front of him, but Otis is the winner. There's artwork that's done by a local artist. I have my championship t-shirt in the mail now. This is when Otis won 3 years ago. This was the artwork. So there's new artwork for him. Super fun. I heard he actually got some press there. I think in Australia or New Zealand that Laura told me. So I'm hoping it gets out. It's super cool. This was the 8th year of having our Fat Bear competition. And I think everyone should follow it because it's just hilarious how they talk about the bears. Okay, now I'm done with that. Let's move on to what else we see in the fall, which is the animals. So like I mentioned, moose. Depending on what season you're here is what these moose, they change throughout the season, right? So in the fall, they're at their prime of their big antlers. So they grow these every year. They shed these antlers every fall. So this is a big bull moose. So it's really easy to see them in the fall, but they're just in this massive state, right? It's really cool to see. And they'll drop those antlers. And so if you're out hiking in the fall or in the wintertime and you come across some moose antlers, you're allowed to take them because they shed them every year and they grow them back. It's amazing. So I don't know what that would look like to ship it back to Australia or New Zealand, but wow, what a cool little keepsake to take is some moose antlers. But really easy to see them in the fall. If you do flight seeing, it's even easier to see them because those leaves start to fall. You see the changing of the colors, so they stick out a little bit more. One of my favorite flight seeing is done in the fall because it's called the wildlife and glacier flight seeing because you're looking at just the beauty of all the fall colors, but then you're getting these great views of the animals, whether it's a bear or moose or caribou or wolves or sheep, Dall sheep with their big horns too. So constantly looking for that wildlife out there. A lot of people don't know is about our performing arts center. So we get a lot of really cool performances that come starting in the fall and the wintertime here. We don't have them in the summertime because again, we don't stay indoors when you're here in the summertime in Alaska. The reason you're here is to be outdoors. But in the fall and the wintertime, when it's getting darker and colder, we love the arts scene here. This is our Performing Arts Center in downtown Anchorage. We have some of the top musicals and plays that come from New York or LA that will actually come to Alaska. And we've had anywhere, I'm hoping Hamilton comes. I don't know. I haven't seen if that's coming yet. But we've had Phantom of the Opera. We've had Cats. We've had Chicago, like really big name performances that come here. So if you do have clients that are into that and are here in the fall or winter, check out our Performing Arts Center and what we have playing. Also open year-round is our Anchorage Museum. I always think this needs to be included in every itinerary because it's really, you learn about our art, our history, and science behind Alaska. It is a fascinating state. And this is just a great place to start because before they go and travel on or just explore other areas, there's just a really good sense of understanding about what they're going to experience while they're here. And this is right in downtown Anchorage, and they're constantly changing out their exhibits too. But they have some staple ones that are always there, which is one of them is the Alaska exhibit, and it talks about the 13 regions and not regions, but just areas of Alaska and how we found oil and the gold rush and just the transportation and how they came by ship and then added airlines and that kind of stuff to our to our area. This is me with, if you've heard of the Sell Your Way program from Visit USA there in Australia. This is some Australians that came, gosh, I think this was 3 years ago, and we had so much fun. So I'm hoping that that program comes back. And if not, we have other opportunities to get you up on a FAM, but we have a lot of fun. And this is just a really cool place to take a picture inside our Anchorage Museum. And then again, our trail systems are open year round here. And in the fall, you're just getting the beautiful scenery, that fresh air. You can rent bikes. You can actually rent e-bikes. I don't know if you've ever been on an e-bike, but they are super cool and you can get going pretty fast. So don't worry about our hills, because you just get that little power and up you go. And we even have tandem bikes. So if you want to ride with a friend, you put one in the front to control everything, and the one in the back can hang out and take pictures, and what a fun way to do it. But you can see the background of our city right there, and you're right on the Cook Inlet. So still in the summertime, in the fall, we're looking for beluga whales when that tide comes in. And we have over 3 million lakes here in Alaska. Yep, 3 million lakes. So lots to do on those, whether you want to kayak, whether you want to do stand-up paddleboarding, whether you want to go rafting on one. You probably in the fall won't go in one. You probably won't swim in one, unless you want to, but they're a little cold. Our lakes don't get really warm here, just because it's such a short time frame, and they're pretty deep, and a lot of them are glacier fed. But Eklutna Lake is fed by Eklutna Glacier, and this is just an area of all kinds of outdoor activities, which includes kayaking. And then now we're into our Northern Light season. It has begun here, and it's been already amazing. So I have an app. There's an app that says, hey, in the next hour, the Northern Lights are going to be out. You should go outside. So how cool is that? And they are just spectacular in the fall. September is one of my favorite months to see them. You can see, because in the picture in this background, you can kind of see the yellow trees. And what's so cool about seeing the Northern Lights in South Central Alaska is that you get the mountains, the trees, the water. So there's just so much more to your Northern Lights photos. And then just to take them in, it's just breathtaking. So I always say September is one of the best months to see them. We have more clear skies in September. So that's just a brief snippet of fall. Again, like I said, it's a short season, and then we get into our winter. We are already had a little dusting of snow already. So we're quickly moving into our winter season, which is now going to be November through February. And there's just so much to do. What we should notice is that we're still losing daylight. So each month we lose a little more daylight each day, right? Until we get till December. December 21st is winter solstice, and that will be our darkest day here in Anchorage, which will be about 5.5 hours of daylight. There are places in Alaska that do not see the light. The further north you get, when you get up into the Arctic, the very top of Alaska, it's called polar nights. So for about 65 days, they do not see the sun. So around November 18th, when that sun sets, they won't see it for another 65 days, which is crazy to me. But again, they're night skies. They'll still get that silver twilight. They'll get the alpenglow, but they get the northern lights like crazy. So that's okay, right? That's a good exchange. But here we still have 5.5 hours. And then once we hit that December 21st, we'll start gaining from there. So it's great. But let's look at all the cool winter activities. I am just really trying to grow our winter season here, because I think it is absolutely magical. It's authentic. It's different, and people kind of slow down a little bit more in the wintertime, and you can really get to know local Alaskans. So one of the phenomenons that happens only in Alaska, this is that alpenglow I was mentioning. So at sunset and sunrise, like, we will get this beautiful, like, rose-colored skies, like right above the mountains before the sun goes down or the sun rises. Like, it is spectacular. And then when it does get dark enough, we get the northern lights. Like, how beautiful is that? And then you can see in the wintertime, we're going to start getting snow. So now you're going to get the northern lights with those snow-covered mountains, and you can do a fire. In some of our tour operators will actually build like a little fire, or they have little warming huts that you can stay in until, the northern lights come out. And it is just so magical here to see them. And Alaska is one of the best places on earth to actually see them, because we have such a long season for them. They actually start coming out in August. This year, we actually saw them August 5th. That's kind of rare. Normally it's about mid to late August we get them. Then they go off in September, and then we just start kind of, November is another peak time. And like, it's just amazing. In the next 7 years, they say Alaska is just going to keep getting better and better and better, based on the solar system and what scientists are telling us. So if your clients do want to see the northern lights, I'm telling you, Alaska is the place to come to do that. And here's another shot more in the wintertime where now you get more of that snow and you're on a lake and they're just dancing above you. I can't tell you enough how amazing they are. Anyways, let's go back to wildlife. We're still looking for wildlife. So the moose are coming out of the mountains a little bit more. So the moose are easier to see. This is a cow moose. So this is a female moose that's right alongside our road system. The lady's taken a picture right from one of our tour operators' vans. It's easier to see the Dall sheep again, the caribou, all the animals except for bear. You cannot see bears in the wintertime because that's when they're sleeping and they're hibernating. All the other bears or all the other animals you can see except for the marine life of whales. We can see the other marine life of seals and sea otters and sea lions, but the whales will migrate back to California or Hawaii, which is kind of funny because I always laugh that they come and eat here and eat all our salmon, and then they go to Hawaii and do their romance and have their babies. So I think whales have a good life, don't you? Anyways, another guaranteed wildlife is the reindeer farm, which is super cool to see in the wintertime. They are open year round and they have fun, different things happening each month. But in the wintertime, it's just a little more special because they'll do stuff like getting ready for Christmas. So you can do really cool sled rides and feed the reindeers and meet Santa if you have any clients that are bringing their kids. But what's also fun is that you can kiss a moose. I don't know. I've kissed, this is Rocky the moose. I've kissed him now 6 times. It's so fun to kiss Rocky the moose, but you get some fun photos. I should put like all my Rocky kissing moose photos up here because they all are so different. But you realize how big their snouts are once you go for a kiss. But just a really fun family operated farm that is over 80 acres. Another favorite place of mine, these are just north of Anchorage, is the muskox farm. And again, it's open year round. But muskox, if you think about a muskox, they have been here since the Ice Age. These are ancient. They have been around forever. They'll probably be here until who knows when. But I mean, they're amazing animals and they have the cutest babies. But the muskox farm is amazing. But also their underbellies, it sheds their fur, and our Alaska natives take it and they create yarn out of it. And then they'll hand knit these hats and gloves and scarves. And it's called kivyut. And this kivyut is 8 times warmer than wool and softer than cashmere. So it's a really amazing fiber that comes from these muskox. So I just think they're truly amazing animals. I want to say it's a little bit of my spirit animal, but I'm not quite sure I'm calling it my spirit animal yet, but I love them. Again, getting back outdoors, our trails, like I mentioned, is open year round. So now instead of hiking, this is on our popular flat top mountain. You're going to put on snowshoes. These are snowshoes or cross-country skis. What a cool way to experience our trails is with snowshoes on. So if you never had snowshoes on, you're pretty much floating on the snow. I mean, it just keeps you on top of feet of snow. It is so cool. And you can get anywhere you want on any trail when you're in snowshoes. The minute you take that off, you'd sink down into probably like your thigh, not necessarily in this photo, but in like the heart of the wintertime. And then just the views from our trail systems are spectacular. And then if you just go south of Anchorage, this is still part of the municipality of Anchorage. It's called Girdwood. And now you're at the beautiful Alyeska Resort, our year-round resort. But what a beautiful winter resort, because you can see it is a ski in and ski out hotel. So not only is it just a luxury hotel, normally they have that little pond in front here plowed, so you can do some ice skating, you can do snowshoeing and cross-country skiing here. But again, you're here to get into the mountains, which is downhill skiing or snowboarding. And again, you just leave that hotel and it's right at sea level. So there's no elevation that your clients need to get used to. And we have about 79 different runs. So it's not a massive mountain like you're going to get at Colorado, but it's I always say it's like a 3 to 4 day ski mountain. And it's something for everyone. There's the blues, there's the greens, we have black diamonds. We have the most double black diamonds, which are the more extreme runs for those that are more experienced. If you do have clients who are even wanting more of a thrill, they actually do heli skiing right from this hotel too. The helipad's right next there. They're in the Chugach Mountains in no time and hitting pristine mountains and snow right here in Anchorage. So super cool. way to expend your winter time. And I should mention, I forgot to mention, they're building a new Nordic spa. So if you've ever been to Canada, how they have those beautiful Nordic spa where it's the hydrotherapy, where you go from the really hot pool to the warm pool to the then you dip yourself in a really cold pool. That is being built in this Borealis setting of 50,000 square feet. And it's going to have outdoor fire pits and dry saunas and salt rubs, and all the salts made here in Alaska from Homer. You're in a plush robe, and they have massages and a deli and that's going to be open next month. And I cannot wait. I keep telling them I'm going to be the first to try that. So I keep reminding them that don't forget, I need to market that for you. So I should try it. But again, that's Alyeska Resort. Another great activity right there from Girdwood is called, you can go snow machining, or that's what we call it here in Alaska, but it's snowmobiling to most people. I don't know why we call them snow machines, but we just do. But you can actually snow machine into a glacier that you can only get to in the wintertime by a snow machine, or in the summertime by the Alaska Railroad. It is called Spencer Glacier. And that is me. That is me on a snow machine. Can't you tell? You're all geared up, but that is one of the icebergs that calved off of Spencer Glacier. So, I mean, I'm on a frozen lake with one of the icebergs that is just frozen in time until the summer comes again. And you get to explore. You get to ride around these icebergs. They create these crevasses and these caves that you get to go and explore. And the blues of this ice, and when the sun hits it, is just crazy. I mean, it is such a cool experience. And I'm going to show you when I talk about summer what Spencer Glacier looks like in the summer. Just remember this slide. It's just so massively different. And that's why I say our glaciers are a different experience depending on what season you're here. And our Alaska Railroad actually operates in the wintertime too. A lot of people think that they are only a summertime operation as well, but they now call it the Aurora train. It doesn't operate as often as it does in the summertime because we haven't quite got to that capacity yet, but we're trying. But they do operate and head north during the wintertime, mainly on the weekends. But then once we hit February and March, which are our more popular months for the winter, they'll offer midweek trains too. So what a great way to travel through the wintertime is by the Alaska Railroad. And then, like, each month, we pretty much have some type of fair or festival happening here. Our big winter one that happens in February is called the Fur Ronde Festival. So this is back to the miner and trapper days, and they'd have this big ball. There's a big ball at the end of this, like dance, where everyone makes their outfits out of duct tape. We use a lot of duct tape here. I think hopefully you guys know what the duct tape is, the gray tape. But you make your whole outfit for that. I should actually find my photo. I made one once for this ball, and it's like so much fun to make something out of duct tape. Anyways, they have all these quirky different events for 2 weeks that happen from mid-February all the way until the beginning of March. And once we hit that very first weekend in March, we go into the Iditarod. But one of the funny activities that we do is that you can run with the reindeer. You can do outhouse races where you push your friends in an outhouse down. This is right down on 4th Avenue in downtown Anchorage. We have snow sculptures. We always have fireworks during this time. We do bowling, ice bowling. We do snowball fights. So like lots of just really fun activities that lead into the Iditarod, which is our one professional sport. Yep, that's right. Our one professional sport is dog sledding, and the dogs are the athletes, and these are Alaska Huskies. They're specific for Alaska and dog mushing, and they're not the big Malamutes that you would think that would pull a dog sled team. These are really fast dogs that love to run, and this year is the 50th running of the last great race. And this all started back from the days when we didn't have transportation to get I don't know if anyone's seen the show Balto, where they got the serum when everyone was sick up in the villages, and the only way they could get the medicine to them was by dog sled. So that is how the Iditarod got started. And so we still do it. It's over 1,000 miles. I'm going to have to ask Corey to translate what 1,000 miles is in kilometers for you guys. And it takes our mushers from when they leave Anchorage to Nome, which is the final place, 8 days. So they're out on the trails for 8 days, mushing their dog sled teams. There's different checkpoints throughout it, but it's just so fascinating to watch and experience. And I highly recommend that you find the musher you like and cheer them on and just kind of be that champion for them, because they are the same ones that your clients are going out on tour with. So if you find a musher you like, most likely they offer tours in the summer because they're continuing to train their dogs and make money so they can run this race. So then that's that intimate experience that they have with this musher that they follow, and then they get to experience their tour. So I think that's super cool. So now we're into the spring. Spring, again, another really short season for us. It's March and April. It's going to look more like winter because our winter is a little bit more extended into our spring. So a lot of these activities I was just telling you about are continuing to happen in our spring. So there's not much of a difference once we hit spring. The one thing that I should have pointed out is that we're getting more sunlight and it's getting warmer. So that is the biggest difference, is that now once we hit March, we have more sunlight than anywhere else in the lower 48 states of the US. So pretty cool. So the Northern Lights are still dancing. March is another really popular month to come here because we have the most clear skies. So again, 2 popular months for Northern Lights is September and March, but again, they happen every day. They've been happening the last 3 nights they've been out. So, but as an Alaskan, sometimes I have to get some sleep. So I'm kind of picky on when I go out there, but when I do, I know I'm going to be amazed. You can ask also, like I mentioned, glaciers. This might not look like glacier, but this is actually a snow-covered glacier in the Alaska range. So you are 10 miles away from the peak of Mount Denali. Mount Denali is the tallest peak in North America. So it is over 20,000 feet up in the air, which is crazy. And you can land on this glacier called Root Glacier, and you're only 10 miles away from that peak. Like, it will bring your clients tears to their eyes. It is truly, truly magical. And I always say that when they land on this glacier, when there's snow in March, is they should do one of those snow angels on it. So how cool is that to have a picture of you doing a snow angel on a glacier right from the summit of Mount Denali? Check. Yes, please. And then again, like I mentioned, our mushers are still continuing to do their dog sled tours, winter, spring, summer. This is an example of where you can mush your own dog sled team. So the gentleman taking the picture, he's actually in charge of that team. And then you always travel with one person sitting in the sled, and you go through this wilderness valley and area, and then you switch. So you really are in charge of your own dogs, and you'll feel their power and feel their passion, and you get to give them the commands. Like, how cool is that? That's me in that pink jacket in the one picture here. It's super fun. I giggle the whole time. I think doing dog sledding is so much fun. And then you always get to play with puppies. They always are, breeding the new athletes into the sport. So this little puppy was 6 months old. So they range from different ages depending on when their litters are born. But to play with puppies is so fun. Also, we have fishing year round here too. So you can also do fishing in the wintertime. So now it's ice fishing. So we have, like I mentioned, 3 million lakes here in Alaska. So we have lots of lakes in the Anchorage area. And we have operators that put up the warming huts. You actually fish in the warming hut if you want, or you can be outside. So they're heated, you're warm, and it has the little ice holes around, and you can go for some of the beautiful trout that we have here. And again, this is another shot of our trails are still open. So another way to experience them is on fat tire bikes, where now they're the big fat tires that have studs in them. So you can really cruise around on these fat tire bikes. And then March, we start our wildlife and glacier cruises because the gray whales are moving back as early as around March 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. They come from California, and they're coming here again to eat the salmon. So then these cruises start. And what a cool thing that your clients can experience. So one day they can be at Alyeska and skiing in March, and the next day they're out in Seward, which is about an hour and a half from Girdwood south. And now they're going out into Kenai Fjords National Park. So they're going out into a national park, and they're looking for the gray whales and all the other marine life that we have out there, and glaciers. Like, check. Awesome. And look at the views. I just think it's so magical and beautiful out there in the wintertime because you get all the snow-capped mountains that surround you. The water's very calm. And now, like I mentioned, the sun is up for about 13 to 14 hours during this time. And another guaranteed wildlife is at our Alaska Zoo. Our Alaska Zoo is just on the hillside here in Anchorage. It is 26 acres of borealis setting that have Arctic and subarctic animals. So a really cool place to see a polar bear, because we do have a polar bear here. Her name is Cranberry. But they also have really cool encounters with some of the animals too. And one of my favorites is where you can take their 2 goats for a goat walk around the different trail systems. These are 2 Nigerian dwarf goats. Fun fact, I have 2 of these goats too in my backyard. Their name's Oli and Sven. But they're so fun. If you've never walked with goats or experienced any life with goats, You should. It is just heartwarming. I know someone wrote there, puppies. How about goats? I should have a picture of my goats at one time. Maybe I'll do that for module 3. I'll put that out there. Anyways, another way to experience a glacier is you can do helicopter flight skiing where you land on the frozen lake like you just see here. You see the massive toe of the glacier behind us. But again, now this is another massive glacier that's going to create those ice caves that you can go and explore. I mean, look at these walls of ice, and this is what has calved off of it. That's me jumping for joy because I am fascinated by glaciers because they have been here, thousands and tens of thousands of years ago. And here I am next to one and just the beauty of it and the massive size of them. So just so cool. Probably the coolest thing I did this winter is this is called Nilchina Glacier. And again, the only way to get there is by helicopter or by snow machine. This is a little bit north of Anchorage. You'd go from Sheep Mountain Lodge. But look at this ice cave. I have never seen anything like this in my life. This is just this big, looks like just a big wave of water that has been frozen in time, and this is like almost a mile long. And you can see that's me and my sister and one of my good friends, how tiny we are. This is that massive of a glacier. Like it is so, so cool. And again, you can actually, once our lakes freeze, so you can now also go snowshoeing or fat tire biking or cross-country skiing up to, this is Portage Glacier. So one of the most popular glaciers in the summertime, which is also popular in the wintertime to go experience. And then we do have a fun festival at Alyeska Resort. It's called the Slush Cup. We do, again, it's a weekend full of fun, wacky activities such as this, where you try to ride your snowboard or skis across this little pool that we made, and you have to be in a costume and you come flying down the mountain. You try to get across. Most people crash and everyone cheers, and it's just a really fun time that we have in April. That's always going to be mid-April in Alyeska. All right, so I left a little time to talk about summer. So I just because you guys know summer, I really want to talk about our other seasons more, but let's blaze through our summer. So real quick, it's May through August. Sometimes we say September, but as you know, that's what we call our fall. But one thing about May, you start seeing that we're starting to gain that daylight. In June is when we have the most sunlight. That's where summer solstice is. What's beautiful about coming in early summer, like in the May, is that's when the baby animals are born. So you can really see a lot of the baby moose being born and with their moms. And they are the cutest little things with their little legs. They kind of remind me of giraffe because they just have these long, long legs and they're just kind of toddling around and falling. And they're just so cute. So here's a glance of what downtown Anchorage looks like in the summertime. So beautiful, great. And then this is just like a normal day of midnight sun where I think this picture was taken at 9:00 at night. We have all these beautiful wildflowers. So all the flowers are in bloom in summer. Everything's so green and lush. And it's just spectacular here in the summertime. Our Alaska Railroad now is operating in full operations. They have 3 departures now each day. So we're talking, they have 2 that head south now, and then they have 1 that continues to go north. So a great way to do day trips from Anchorage by Alaska Railroad, or a great way to move from different beautiful little small towns that we have in and around the Anchorage area and South Central. Also, pretty much every day of the week, we have some type of outdoor fair, festival, concert going on. So if you go to anchorage.net, we list these all under our event page. And so if you have a client and you want to look, what's going on during the week they're here, go to our website and check it out. And then you can just be like, you should maybe check out this, or email one of us and we can say, they should make sure they do this, or don't forget about this, because there's always something going on, because we love to be active and outdoors and have fun activities during the summer. This is our Anchorage Market and Festival that happens every weekend. Over 300 vendors are usually there. You can buy from our Alaska natives here. You can buy t-shirts, socks. You can try a chicken case or a salmon quesadilla, or try one of our craft beer. There's a little local Alaska craft beer garden that happens here as well. So really cool place. And like I said, lots of live music happens too. We have some really great Alaska bands here. We do get some other big bands that come to Alaska, but our local talent is amazing. So maybe go listen and find a new Alaska band to be your favorite. And then the Alaska Native Heritage Center. So another way to put that culture and meet the people. Normally, this is only open in the summertime. They got a grant, so they're actually going to be open this winter. So I'm super excited about this. But this is where you really get to hear their stories, explore the history, and feel the heartbeat of our first people, the indigenous people of Alaska. They are remarkable. How they still live off the land and the subsistence and how they do it's mind-blowing. I mean, it is absolutely mind-blowing how they still live today. And they're lovely. So that's the Alaska Native Heritage Center. And again, fishing, I get this question all the time. I'm coming to Alaska. I want to fish. I get it. I fish all the time. I love to fish. I'm always trying for that next big one. I was lucky enough to have a cabin on the Kenai, or well, my parents had a cabin on the Kenai where we got to go every weekend. So that's where my love from fishing came. We also have a fishing creek right here, as you've learned. It's called Ship with a P, Ship Creek, where you can catch one of our salmon species, such as this lady caught a silver salmon. So you can get silvers, kings, or pink salmons here. So just depends on what month your clients are here. Another great way to go to some of those beautiful lakes that we have to go to remote fishing is by a float plane. So Russ Flying Service, Regal, Alaska Air will really get you out into that wilderness remote and maybe try some fishing that way. Or, as you know, this is the busiest seaplane airport in the world right here in Anchorage on Lake Hood, because we just don't have a wide range of highways. We have 6 highways here, and we have more pilots than I think any other state, just because we have all this massive land to get to, and the best way to do it is by a float plane. Another great way to get to our national parks or to visit 5 of our 8 national parks in a day is by float plane. So again, there's 5 of them you can get to from Anchorage. I'll quickly point them out. The 2 over here where the bears are, that's Katmai and Lake Clark National Park. Of course, Denali National Park, you can drive there, but if your clients only have a day to go see it and they want to do that flight seeing, they can do that flight seeing to Mount Denali from Anchorage for the day. Or they want to get over to Wrangell St. Elias National Park, the largest national park that we have in the U.S. It can fit 6 Yellowstone national parks in this park. It's 13.2 million acres. It's massive. But again, you'd have to take a flight to get there. To drive there, it's about 7 to 8 hours from Anchorage. So again, remember our size. We're big, and it takes a while to get to those places by driving. And of course, Kenai Fjords National Park down here. Again, you can get there by train or by driving. But if they're going to go there for the day, they can actually go take a flight, which is only 40 minutes to get there. So, and then of course we have the other 3 national parks that are in the other region, 2 up here and 1 over in our southeast region. Another guaranteed wildlife is the Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. This is over 200 acres. It's only here because it's injured and orphaned animals of Alaska. So without this facility, these animals would have been left in the wild. So they have been given a second chance at life, and they are very well taken care of. And we absolutely love our Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center. And they are open year round. So, and they too have encounters where you can feed some of the different animals, such as the deer here. You can feed also a moose or a porcupine, but beautiful, beautiful facility. And then this is what dog sledding looks like in the summertime. So you change out that sled and they put wheels on the cart. So now you're going a lot faster. Like you can really get going with wheels, and you usually have a bigger dog sled team. So now they're going to hook up maybe 7 to 8 dogs with you. So it's another way just, again, to keep these athletes being trained year round. And it is so much fun to play with the puppies. These puppies are 2 months old, and there was 10 of them. And that is the mom up front. And they were just so adorable, and they're just so fun to play with. So again, dog sledding is just a must do as well. And then this is that Spencer Glacier that I mentioned too. That, remember I said that I was on that snow machine next to one of the icebergs that caved off of it? Well, this is now, the lake has now become unfrozen, and you take a raft or kayak up to this glacier. And then the only way you can get there is by our Alaska Railroad. So your clients can really feel like they're getting off the grid and going to a very remote glacier, but you do it within a day trip from Anchorage. So very cool. Another way to explore a glacier is to actually go walk on one. So your clients, again, depending on their ability, they can do a nice leisurely 2-hour exploration of this glacier called Madanuska Glacier, or they can do an advanced trek. I did this with my daughter 2 summers ago, where you spend 6 hours and you get to do ice climbing. You get to jump into Mulan, which is the coldest water you can possibly jump into. You get to just explore this ancient ice. And if you want to do one other step, is that you can actually, they'll set up a tent and you can actually camp on this glacier. So super cool way. They also have those glamping camps with the canvases right outside the park here too. So another great way for your clients to experience a glacier. And of course, probably our most popular is a dayboat cruise. Prince William Sound is just about an hour and a half south of Anchorage, really close to the town of Girdwood. And Prince William Sound is one of the most glacier-fed sounds in the world. It has about 10,000 glaciers, but we have a cruise that leaves right from Whittier, and where it's always prettier. But you'll see in 5.5 hours, you can go and see 26 different glaciers. So how cool to sit back on a boat, get really close. They'll turn off the engine. You'll listen for the calving. They'll grab that ice that has fallen off that glacier, and they'll scoop it up and make you a glacier margarita. So you can sit back and sip on a beautiful, yummy glacier margarita as you head back to the port of Whittier. Of course, you're looking for the whales, the sea lions, the sea otters, like you see here. I always say when you see a sea otter, it's like, oh, because they are super cute and they love to play with the boats. But we get the porpoise whales that play with the boats as well. So it's just a really cool way to now be in our summertime and really, explore the whales that come here. So these are the whales that have come from California or Hawaii to come again, eat all that salmon that we have. So whether you do it out of Whittier, which is more of a sound, so it's very calm, they can guarantee no seasickness, or you do it out of Seward, which is 2.5 hours north of Anchorage, and now you're getting into Kenai Fjords National Park. So that's how you're going to get into that national park, and you're really looking at the whales, the scenery, the beautiful marine life that we have here in Alaska. And then we have, again, some really fun events that happen during the summer. So summer solstice, so we celebrate the night that we have the 22 hours of daylight. We have a big festival that happens all around downtown Anchorage. We have a hike where you can go up to one of our mountaintops, and there's a big party on the top there. We have a baseball game. We have a minor league baseball team that will do a summer solstice game. So they don't start until 10 o'clock at night because the sun's up and we don't have any of you don't have to turn on actual lights. You play under the midnight sunlight. So it's kind of a fun local thing to do. And then if you do have any clients that are runners, we do have the Mayor's Midnight Sun Marathon in June as well. So they can either do a 5K, a 10K, or the whole 26 K marathon. So it's a really fun experience, kind of through rolling hills all around Anchorage. And what a cool place to do under the midnight sun. In July, we have our July 4th celebrations. We have lots of parades happening around town. In Girdwood, we have what's called the Girdwood Fair, which is in like the borealis setting of the woods. And there's all these great artists and music and local bands that are playing there too. And then in August, we have what's called our Alaska State Fair. It's in Palmer, Alaska, which is north of here, but it's a very hometown feel of Alaska. It happens right towards the end of August, around the 20th, and it'll go into Labor Day weekend, which is that first weekend in September. We have a competition of who can grow the largest pumpkin and cabbage and zucchini. So we do have some type of agricultural life here too, and we always have a big competition at our Alaska State Fair. And with that, I think I've made it through all the seasons, and hopefully show that we are open more than just the summertime. It is just absolutely gorgeous here, and I'm very blessed to actually live here and get to play in my state. So with that, Corey, welcome back.
Thanks, Tia. Thanks. I hope you're feeling the love from our part of the world. You have some big fans. Obviously, everyone's appreciative of your passion. I'm appreciative of how you get out and explore your own state and include so many great photos from your camera roll. And some love your accent as well and want to know if all Alaskans talk like you. So yeah, great job. And for some of the agents that didn't see Carry On featuring Tia and her goats, Carry On did that last month. And I did include the link in the chat box for you guys to check that video out of what Tia's goats look like. But yes, now we get to the important part of today's webinar. This is your chance to become certified through answering the questions for module number 2. And go ahead and answer these right on the screen as we go along, and Tia and I will alternate. So question 1 is, Anchorage is only open in the summer, true or false? And Tia.
Excellent. Hopefully you know now that we're not open only in the summertime. So let's talk about that winter. What winter activities are available from Anchorage? You can go walk on that beautiful Manuska Glacier. How about dance underneath those northern lights? Maybe you want to go on a snow machine, snowshoes, or fat tire bike on one of our many trails. Or how about you can do all of the above?
And question number 3, what is the selling points for Anchorage in the fall season? Is it the autumn leaves and northern lights viewing? Is it the gray whales? Is it the summer solstice celebration? Or is it the newborn moose and other wildlife? And I believe Tia's scarf has something to do with it.
Yes, it sure does. All right, now what about early summer, that May time frame? So what is the selling points for Anchorage in early summer? So would that be the northern lights season? How about those newborn baby moose and other wildlife? The warmest temperature, and then those snow-capped peaks. Yeah,
Tougher one.
Remember those cuddling moose.
Okay, number 5. Which hotel is in Girdwood, Alaska, is open year-round, includes the scenic tram, hiking, that new Nordic spa that's opening that she mentioned, and downhill skiing or snowboarding? Is it Hotel Captain Cook, Harbor 360, Alyeska Resort, or the Copper Whale Inn?
Excellent. I should mention the Copper Whale Inn is one of my favorite little local B&Bs. So that is a great place to send your clients. All right. Remember Fat Bear Week. I'm super excited about this. So 2021 Fat Bear winner from Katmai National Park. I should have put me as one of the choices because... But luckily, I did not win this year. Last year, I probably would have been in the running. Maybe 2020, but not 2021. But this year's winner was Walker, Old Man Otis, Holly, or Grazer. All 4 of these bears actually did make the bracket this year.
Looks like we got a lot of great answers. All right, question 7, the last question. Who are the coolest reps you must contact regarding any South Central Alaska questions? Lara, Corey, Tia, Karen, or all or any of the above? Amazing. I got getting some great feedback, Tia, as always. Such an informative presentation today. For all of you, once you've completed your questions on the screen, that will conclude your AWE module number 2. As a quick reminder, Module 3 is going to be held on the 23rd of November, and we welcome you and your colleagues to participate. It'll happen at the same time, both on both sides of the Tasman, so Australia and New Zealand. And of course, at the end of all 4 modules, one lucky newly certified AWE specialist as a result of this program will be making their way, yes, international traveling, in 2022 on an AWE FAM program, including $500 towards your airfare. We're excited to select, at random that winner once we get the certified specialists, and can't wait to see them venturing to Alaska. Tia, thanks again. Awesome job. And we'll be back on the 23rd of November. But in the meantime, in true Tia and Alaska fashion, we have one closing video.
Yes, we have to start with the jingle that we're known for here. This was back in the 80s, our first commercial about why you should be wild about Anchorage. So enjoy the jingle and dance along. Thank you for joining me.
Wild about Anchorage, nothing can change my mind.